Libra, my beloved air sign. Let me tell you right now, what's coming over the next 3 months will make you cry tears of joy. Not because it's overwhelming, but because it's been a long time coming. The prayer you whispered months ago, the wish you buried in silence, the hope you thought no one heard it was heard. Not just by the universe, but by someone who loved you from another realm. A grandmother, a father, a sister. They've been watching. And now, Libra, they are opening the very door you didn't believe would ever unlock. This isn't just another horoscope. This is a divine message. A sacred unfolding. A miracle that is finally making its way toward you gently, quietly, but with purpose. Welcome to Zodiac Whisper Tarot, where every message is more than astrology. It's a heartbeat from the stars. And if you're here, listening now, I want you to pause for a moment and ask yourself why this video, at this exact time? You see, Libra, there are no accidents in the cosmos. If this found you, it's because you were guided here. Maybe you've felt like you've been holding your breath all year. Waiting. Hoping. Watching everyone else bloom while you stood still. But now, the energy is shifting. The miracle you once gave up on, it's arriving. And I promise you, over the next 10 minutes, you'll see exactly how. In this reading, we'll journey through each of the next 3 months, July, August, and September 2025. You'll see yourself moving from silent suffering to emotional liberation. From being the peacekeeper in everyone else's life to finally making peace with your own soul. You'll begin to say no. To step away. To let go of roles, relationships, and responsibilities that were never truly yours to carry. And as you do, something beautiful happens. You awaken a truth inside you that was long forgotten. You no longer wait for others to choose you, you choose yourself. But here's the most powerful part, you won't be doing this alone. The spiritual energy surrounding you is undeniable. A loved one who's crossed over has been guiding this journey. Their love has become your protection. Their whisper has become the miracle. So take this moment to breathe that in. And if your heart is already resonating with what I'm saying, if something deep inside you is softly saying, "This message is mine," then I invite you to claim it out loud. Comment below and write, "I welcome the miracle sent from above." Let that be your declaration to the universe. A signal that you're ready to receive. And if no one has told you this today, let me be the first. I'm so grateful for your presence here. Every like, every comment, every share, every subscription connects you more deeply to the heart of this channel and allows us to continue sharing these transformational messages with those who need them most. Stay with me, Libra. What the universe is about to reveal to you is breathtaking. Something shifts the moment we realize we've been performing in a life that no longer fits. July arrives not as a storm, but as a quiet unfolding, like a veil slowly being lifted from your eyes. You begin to notice how much energy you've been pouring into keeping everything balanced, how much of yourself you've sacrificed for the sake of appearing agreeable, keeping the peace, or preserving relationships that don't truly nourish your soul. This month, Libra, you are not just awakening, you are returning to the center of your own truth. When the Justice card appears alongside the Two of Swords and the Queen of Swords, it's not calling for war, it's calling for clarity. It invites you to remove the blindfold, not because the truth is easy, but because the truth is freeing. For far too long, you may have held your tongue, softened your words, or shaped your identity around what others expected. But something sacred within you is beginning to stir the realization that peace built on your silence is not peace at all. Astrologically, Pluto, the planet of transformation and deep inner truth, activates your fourth house this month, bringing everything back home, your inner foundation, your roots, your emotional patterns. This energy urges you to look inward and ask, where have I been compromising who I am just to be accepted? These aren't surface-level questions, they are soul-deep inquiries. And July is giving you the courage to finally answer them. The number 7 vibrates through this month like a quiet bell ringing in the distance. It's the number of spiritual awakening, inner wisdom, and sacred solitude. This isn't about withdrawing from the world in bitterness. This is about stepping back to observito, listen to your own breath, your own heartbeat, and the subtle voice within that has been trying to speak all along. And when you begin to listen to yourself again, you begin to remember what truth feels like. The sapphire blue energy that colors this month isn't just a visual symbol, it's a frequency of discernment, of intuitive insight, of emotional courage. You are invited to wear your wisdom with dignity and speak your truth not with aggression, but with grace. Like the Queen of Swords, you don't need to raise your voice to be heard, you simply need to stand in the calm certainty of your knowing. And perhaps one of the most tender truths of all is this: boundaries are not barriers to love. They are the architecture of it. They are how love sustains itself in a way that doesn't ask you to betray yourself for the comfort of someone else. July teaches you that you don't need to hold it all together anymore, you just need to hold yourself. If you felt guilty for choosing yourself, for saying no, or for walking away from what no longer honors your spirit, let this be your permission to release that guilt. Sometimes, loving others means stepping away. Sometimes, the most sacred justice is allowing yourself to rest, to breathe, and to finally say, I matter too. And as you do, remember this gentle wisdom that echoes through many sacred traditions: you were not created to carry the weight of everyone's happiness. You were created to shine in your own truth. Let July be the month you come home to that truth, not with fear, but with reverence. Your voice matters. Your choices matter. And when you honor yourself with honesty, you don't lose harmony, you create a new, truer version of it. The kind of harmony that doesn't require you to shrink, but allows you to expand. Stay with this feeling. It's the beginning of everything beautiful. Sometimes the most powerful transformations don't come through action, but through stillness. July continues to unfold not with a bang, but with a subtle and undeniable call inward. After the clarity brought by justice and the emotional edges exposed by truth-speaking, you now find yourself in a quieter season, one where the universe is asking you to pause, reflect, and realign. It's not a retreat out of fear. It's a sacred withdrawal, a conscious and necessary choice to stop pouring from an empty cup. The reverse temperance card suggests that balance has been lost, not in the way others might see, but in the space between your giving and your receiving. You've spent so long being the one who keeps things smooth, who regulates emotion in the room, who softens the sharpness of others, that your own needs have been pushed to the corners of your awareness. Now, the imbalance cannot be ignored. The Hanged Man appears to confirm what you already feel, that you're in a holding pattern, a suspended space that offers no immediate solution. But what if the purpose isn't to solve anything? What if this moment is meant to shift your entire relationship with rest, with self-worth, with your own energy? Saturn, the cosmic teacher of boundaries and long-term growth, is moving in reverse now, asking you to revisit your sense of responsibility. Are you carrying burdens that were never yours? Are you saying yes out of fear of disappointing others rather than genuine desire? This planetary influence reminds you that self-respect is not selfish. It is the foundation on which every healthy connection is built. In fact, the numerology of 4 this month is all about structure and repair. It brings the focus back to your emotional home, the internal architecture of safety, of restoration, and of grounded love. You are rebuilding, Libra, not from scarcity, but from wisdom. And just as your spiritual body is being called to rest, so is your nervous system. The 4 of Swords arrives like a whispered invitation to turn inward, not just for reflection, but for true healing. This isn't about escaping the world. It's about tuning out the noise so you can hear yourself again. Healing rarely happens in motion, it often happens when we sit in the space between breaths, between expectations, between what was and what will be. In this silence, you might notice sensations you can't explain. A gentle pressure on your shoulder when you're alone. A familiar smell that lingers for just a second. The memory of a voice you haven't heard in years. While we won't label this moment or spiritualize it too quickly, we can acknowledge that you are being supported even when no one else is around. These impressions, these quiet comforts, are reminders that you are not forgotten. You never were. And maybe that's the message this chapter is here to bring, that healing doesn't always look like fixing. Sometimes, it looks like stopping. Sometimes, it looks like saying, not today, to the demands of the world, and instead whispering, today, I choose me. In divine timing, there is wisdom in waiting. Even scripture teaches gently that we are not called to carry every weight alone. There's strength in letting go. Peace in stepping back. Growth in the pause. So if this month feels slow, unproductive, or unfamiliar, know this: it's not a setback. It's a reset. This is the groundwork of everything you will later become. Trust it. Honor it. And above all, remember you are worthy of the very care you so often give away. Rest is not an indulgence. For you, Libra, this month, it's an act of revolution. ChatGPT NOI. There's a certain kind of light that only reveals itself after the darkest hour, and August arrives like that very light. After the stillness, the surrender, and the deep inner recalibration of July, you begin to feel something unfamiliar but longed for movement. It's subtle at first. A shift in perspective. A realization that your worth was never tied to what you endured, but to how gently you're willing to begin again. This month, Libra, isn't about grand declarations or drastic change. It's about a quiet but undeniable decision to live for yourself. The star card radiates at the center of this new chapter. It represents not just hope, but a return to clarity. It's the moment you remember what it feels like to believe in something again, especially yourself. Paired with the 6 of Swords, it speaks to a transition that may not be loud or dramatic but is deeply healing. You're leaving behind energy that was never yours to hold, letting go of beliefs, expectations, and environments that kept you small, restrained, or in a constant state of self-sacrifice. And as the Ace of Swords suggests, this clarity cuts clean. No more wavering. No more blurred lines. This is the truth you've known deep down, finally finding its voice. Astrologically, Venus, the planet of love, beauty, and self-worth, is harmonizing with Mercury, the planet of thought and expression. This celestial alignment is like a gentle push from the universe, asking you to look at how you've been speaking to yourself and how you've been advocating for your needs. It opens the channel between the heart and the mind, helping you not only know what you want but to actually say it out loud, maybe for the first time. Whether in relationships, career, or daily habits, you're no longer avoiding conflict just to keep the peace. You're realizing that real peace only happens when your inner truth is honored. The number 6 pulses softly through this month, offering a vibration of healing and forgiveness, not just toward others, but especially toward yourself. It's easy to look back and ask, why didn't I leave sooner? Or, why did I stay so long in something that drained me? But growth doesn't arrive with judgment. It arrives with compassion. And August is here to show you that even the detours were sacred. Even the delays were part of your becoming. This energy is further echoed in the color silver white, the hue of renewal and rebirth. You're stepping into a version of yourself that is lighter, not because life suddenly became easy, but because you're no longer carrying what was never yours to hold. The weight lifts. The mind clears. And for perhaps the first time in a long time, your choices begin to align with your desires, not your fears. And even though we're not leaning on spiritual symbolism here, there's still a sacred truth in this moment. You do not need permission to be free. You were created with the ability to choose. And just as divine wisdom teaches us, you are not meant to remain in a place that empties you. You are meant to grow, to shine, to love from fullness, not depletion. It's okay to leave. It's okay to want more. And it's more than okay to begin again. So if something beautiful begins to unfold in your life, an unexpected opportunity, a reconnection, a long-awaited yes, don't brush it off as coincidence. Let yourself believe that this is the response to all the times you held on when it would have been easier to give up. August reminds you that you are not behind. You are right on time. And everything you've been waiting for is finally beginning to find you, now that you've remembered how to find yourself. By the time September arrives, something inside you has shifted so completely, it no longer seeks validation, it simply exists in certainty. After months of release, reflection, and renewal, you're no longer trying to become someone new. You are finally remembering who you've been all along. This is not the beginning of transformation, it's the embodiment of it. What once felt like quiet desires have now matured into unshakable knowing. What once asked for permission now stands grounded in purpose. The High Priestess appears not to give you a new message, but to reflect the wisdom you already hold. She is the reminder that your greatest clarity doesn't come from external noise, but from the still voice within, the one you learned to trust again during those quiet moments in July and those courageous decisions in August. Her energy whispers, not shouts. It reminds you that independence isn't about pushing others away, it's about not abandoning yourself to be accepted. Astrologically, the Sun forms a harmonious trine with Uranus this month, a celestial alignment that brings surprise revelations and personal breakthroughs. But unlike chaos-driven change, this shift feels expansive and liberating. It's not about disruption, it's about alignment. It allows you to step into your truth with ease, to make decisions not from fear or survival, but from deep authenticity. You're not just reacting to life anymore. You're shaping it with intention. The Nine of Pentacles amplifies this frequency of self-trust and quiet accomplishment. It's a card of standing tall in your own garden, harvesting the fruits of all the work you've done, not just physically, but emotionally, mentally, spiritually. You've learned how to show up for yourself without chasing approval. You've remembered how to enjoy solitude without feeling lonely. And you've developed the grace to let others come and go, without making their presence or absence define your worth. This energy finds perfect closure in the World card, a symbol of integration and completion. It confirms that a major chapter in your soul's development is closing, and you are being invited to honor how far you've come. Not with dramatic flair, but with quiet celebration. You are no longer who you were when the year began, and that's the point. You are wiser, more grounded, more attuned. And above all, more whole. The number 9 anchors this entire process with its vibration of culmination and compassion. It asks you not only to finish what was started but to do so with dignity. If there are conversations to close, choices to affirm, or old identities to lovingly lay down, now is the time. And while this moment may carry a hint of nostalgia or tenderness, it is not heavy. In fact, it's freeing. It reminds you that sometimes, the most powerful act of growth is not clinging tighter, but releasing gracefully. The royal purple that governs this month's energy is not just a color, it's a vibration of higher insight, maturity, and leadership. It represents the inner crown you now wear, not one given by the world, but one chosen from within. And that's what true spiritual authority looks like. Quiet. Rooted. Unshakable. As we bring this chapter to a close, it's worth remembering a truth echoed across ancient wisdom. When you walk in alignment with who you really are, the path will clear. It may not always be easy, but it will always be real. And you don't need applause to validate it. The peace inside you is proof enough. Let this month be a gentle bow to everything you've been through and a bold step into the future you are now ready to receive. Some truths don't arrive with lightning, they arrive softly, in the quiet realization that you've outgrown a love that once felt like home. As we move into this part of your journey, the energy turns tender, but not weak. There's strength in what you're facing, Libra, deeper awareness that love, in its truest form, cannot be sustained by longing or sacrifice alone. The Three of Swords doesn't appear to punish, but to free. It holds a mirror to a wound you've carried far too long, a story you've rewritten over and over, hoping for a different ending. But now, finally, you see it for what it is, not a failure, but a chapter that served its time. When the Lovers appears reversed, it calls for a re-evaluation. You may have believed this connection was meant to last, but love that asks you to shrink isn't love, it's fear disguised as attachment. And perhaps the hardest part to accept is that sometimes, people can be good, kind, and still not aligned with the version of you that's emerging. It's not about blame. It's about energy. And your soul, Libra, has risen into a new vibration, one that no longer resonates with the patterns of emotional scarcity. The Queen of Cups invites you to return to your own heart. She reminds you that emotional maturity doesn't mean being cold or distant. It means knowing when to stop pouring into something that doesn't pour back. It means no longer waiting for someone else to choose you in order for you to feel worthy. This part of your journey is about self-devotion. It's about becoming the kind of partner you've always hoped someone else would be. Because when you meet your own needs with gentleness and grace, you stop chasing love and start attracting it effortlessly. There's a quiet but powerful message here. Healing from love isn't just about letting go of the person. It's about letting go of the illusion that you needed them to be whole. You are not half a heart looking for completion. You are already complete. And the love that's coming, the one that reflects this truth, will not require you to suffer to earn it. Now, woven between these emotional threads is something else. Subtle. Invisible. But unmistakably real. A presence. A feeling. A sign. Perhaps you've sensed it in the stillness, in the patterns repeating around you. A dream that lingers long after you wake. A familiar scent carried by the wind. A number that shows up again and again: 444, 911, 717. These are not random. They are affirmations. Proof that someone, perhaps a grandmother, a father, a sister, is watching, not as a memory, but as a force. You see, there are moments when we no longer have the strength to believe for ourselves. And in those moments, someone else carries the prayer. Someone who loved you in life and continues to love you from beyond. They saw your tears when no one else did. They felt your weariness when you smiled through the weight. And now, with all the power love allows, they are guiding something extraordinary toward you. Don't dismiss the timing of what's arriving. That opportunity, that release, that answer you didn't expect, it's not random. It's a response. A gentle confirmation that your perseverance did not go unseen. Sometimes, what we call coincidence is just divine kindness operating in silence. So if you find yourself overwhelmed by an unexpected blessing in the days ahead, if tears come not from sadness, but from deep recognition, know this: you're not alone. You never were. What you're receiving now is not luck. It's love wrapped in mystery, delivered through grace, and arriving right on time. Keep your heart open. You've already done the hardest part. Now, it's time to receive. And now, dear Libra, as we come to the close of this journey together, I want you to take a gentle breath and truly feel the energy you're sitting in right now. You've just walked through one of the most emotionally transformative seasons of your life, one that asked you to release what no longer serves, to reclaim what you thought you'd lost, and to believe deeply and fully that everything you've longed for has already begun moving toward you. You are not the same person who started this video. Something inside you has awakened. You've remembered your worth, not as something you must prove, but as something you've always held. And when you begin to live from that truth, everything changes, not instantly, but inevitably. Because the energy you carry becomes the invitation. And right now, you are carrying the energy of someone who has said, "I'm ready." But here's what I want you to ask yourself: what are you willing to release in order to truly receive? What would happen if you stopped settling, stopped shrinking, stopped waiting for someone else to give you permission to live fully and freely? What would your life look like if you trusted that you are already enough? No striving, no performing, no more earning love through self-betrayal. The answers to those questions won't come all at once. But they will come as you live them. And the next step begins the moment you say, "Yes. I choose myself." That is not selfish. That is sacred. So Libra, take everything we've explored today and hold it close. Use it as a compass. Let it guide your daily decisions, the way you speak to yourself, the people you give your time to, and the dreams you dare to resurrect. Don't just absorb this message, live it. Even in the smallest ways. Start by honoring what you feel, what you know, and what you need. And if something in this message stirred your heart, if a specific part of this reading felt like it was written just for you, I want to hear from you. Comment below and tell me, what are you ready to let go of? What miracle are you finally prepared to receive? Or simply write, I live in honor of the one who always believed in me. Let that be your declaration, your anchor, your sacred offering back to the universe. From the bottom of my heart, thank you for sharing this space with me. Your presence, your energy, your willingness to grow, it means more than you know. Every like, every comment, every subscription brings you deeper into this soul-connected community we're building here at Zodiac Whisper Tarot. Your support is not just appreciated, it's felt, truly and deeply. And if today's message touched something inside you, don't keep it to yourself. Share it. Pass it forward. Someone else may need to hear the same truth you just remembered, that they, too, are the miracle they've been waiting for. Until next time, I'll be here listening, channeling, and whispering what the stars want you to hear. Stay open, stay grounded, and stay devoted to the light within you. The best is not behind you. It's unfolding right now.